Okay guys, you've gone and caught yourself some beautiful Vic River mullet. Now I want to show you how to give you the best chance basically of using those to capitalise on catching yourself a barra. Now the first thing we're going to need to make sure we have is clear monofilament leader. You can use wire traces. It just becomes a little bit harder having a piece of wire basically holding the fish down. It prevents him from swimming. Sometimes with the weight on it, it'll actually stop him from moving and he just becomes a dead bait on the bottom, which barra don't tend to go for. They really like that live moving mullet. That's going to be the key to catching yourself one. The first thing we need to do is you need to make a judgment call on how deep the water is. So if you're fishing in say 3 meters of water and you think that the fish might be sort of on the bottom a bit more, well then you need to make sure that your float is going to be set at a depth where your fish is going to get down there and swim next to those barra. Now a great little investment are these red and white 2-inch floats. The good thing about them is they've got this tiny little clip on them. You don't have to rig them, you don't have to put line through them. They are movable. So you just clip that on and it's done. So when you change depths in water, you simply can unclip it, slide it up, or slide it down if you're heading to shallower water. So your basic setup will be, we're going to do an extremely short version so that you can see what you need to do. Your basic setup will be a float, a circle hook or an octopus hook. So there's 2 types of hooks out there that you should be using for live bait. This guy, we call it an octopus circle hook. You can see it's got the tiny point back in on it. Now fishermen over the years have worked out that that's a better way to hook a fish. Some people believe in using them, some people don't. Otherwise you've just got your standard octopus hook, which will do the exact same thing. Your catch rate might be a little bit better with these, so maybe look at investing in some octopus circle hooks. Sizes, you should be from a 6/0 up to a 9/0 in hook size. Now that all depends on how big your mullet is. There's no point whacking a 9/0 hook through a tiny little mullet. It's just not going to look right. The fish isn't going to look natural. He's not going to swim. So you need to have a couple of different sizes of hooks so you can change to be suited to whatever mullet you're using. Basically your setup is a float. Tie your hook straight on using a blood knot, alright? So you should be able to find information on that quite easy, a nice blood knot. That will be your basic setup. Now if you're having a little bit of trouble with a mullet that's a bit cheeky and he keeps on wanting to go to the surface, you can grab a small bean sinker and put that between the float and the hook, alright? Just run your line straight through one of those, sit the bean sinker here, let it be a running sinker. So basically it'll just sit down on the hook. When it does get too shallow, the sinker will hit the bottom, but the line will still be able to peel through the sinker, so the fish will still swim around. It looks very natural and that's going to be the best way for you to try and catch yourself a barra. Now, locations on using these mullet. Where you've caught that mullet, generally if you throw it straight back in there, there will be barra out there stalking those mullet. Barra are obviously looking for food all the time. You've just caught their food with the cast net. So if you sort of head out just a little bit off the bank, throw it in there, you'll give yourself the best chance. If you need any more information, drop into Rod and Rifle Tackleworld.